All right, just real quick before I get into the video here, I apologize for this morning. I'm feeling under the weather today. I don't know if I didn't get enough sleep this weekend or too much hooting and hollering on Saturday with the games or what, but I don't know. I got up this morning to do the morning show, turned the coffee on, came and sat in the recliner in the living room, and went right back to sleep in the recliner of my living room before the coffee was even made. So I apologize about that for the morning show. You might can hear my voice sounds a little weird today too, but as far as the lunch money show tonight goes, I was going to attempt to do the lunch money show. Pete is having Pete can't do it tonight. He was gonna. He's got something going on. He was gonna try to do it. I said, well, look, I'm not feeling that good. Don't, why do that to yourself? Let's just call it off for tonight. So what we're gonna do, Pete is gonna come on the show with me tomorrow, the call-in show at 10 o'clock, and do the call-in show with me tomorrow. So it'll be kind of a combo show. We are gonna take calls, and then we'll talk about the spreads like me and Pete normally do on Monday nights on the Lunch Money Show. And my new top 25 video that normally comes out on Monday will be up tomorrow around lunchtime. All right, enjoy the video. Well, you really know the ship is sinking when you have players quitting in the middle of the game, literally taking off their helmet, shoulder pads, jersey, throwing their gloves and equipment into the stands, walking off into the tunnel, into the locker room, and then tweeting out, F Ohio State. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this before. I mean, we've had players quit before for a variety of reasons. I mean, you have a lot of players quit before the bowl game now, but not like this. I've read a couple of different versions of what may or may not have happened there. I guess he was trying to go into the game to sub in for somebody, and they told him no and waved him off, don't go in. There had to have been some stuff built up prior to that, though. I don't know if this guy, Kayvon Pope, is that his name, has been unhappy with his playing time, thinks he should be playing more, has some sort of an issue with his position coach or the head coach or coaches on the team or whatever. But clearly there was a lot going on that led up to this other than just, not being subbed in for that one particular play. This had to have been some sort of ongoing issue. The closest thing I can remember to anything like this, in recent memory anyway, if you guys remember, I think it was 2016. It was 2016. Tennessee under Butch Jones. You remember 2016? Tennessee beat Georgia and Florida in the same season. Say that out loud. It just sounds weird to say. But yeah, Tennessee beat Georgia and Florida in the same season in 2016. Had the East all but wrapped up, the SEC East. All they had to do is win one of their last two games against South Carolina or Vandy. They ended up losing them both, of course, and didn't win the East because they never win the East. But in that South Carolina game, it was a road game. I remember it was a night game on the road at South Carolina. And Tennessee had two pretty good running backs on the team. They had, of course, Alvin Kamara, who, for unknown reasons, was the backup running back. And they had the starter, Jalen Hurd, who, by the way, is, second or third on all-time rushing list of Tennessee. But anyway, in that South Carolina game, he refused to go into the game in the second half at one point and quit the team afterwards. So not an identical situation, but Tennessee was struggling on the road. South Carolina, they they went to send him into the game, and he basically said, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna chill right here on the bench next to the Gatorade bottle," and refused to go into the game. And that was it. He was done at that point. He left Tennessee, ended up transferring to, I believe, Baylor, where he played tight end or wide receiver or whatever the hell. But so this did happen to Tennessee. This is surprising. I think that this happened at Ohio State. Nothing surprises me that happens at Tennessee. But the guy quit in the middle of the damn game. Ohio State's a tough team to figure out this year. They were in everybody's top 4 or 5 preseason. Didn't look great in week 1, but won on the road at Minnesota. And then, of course, in week 2, they lost at home to Oregon. And I know Ohio State's got some issues defensively. C.J. Stroud now, their quarterback, is hurt. But the backup played pretty well this past weekend. It was against a bad Akron team, but still, where they scored 59 points, I think, won that game 59-7. If you play a bad team, what do I say all the time? If you play a bad team, all you can do is blow them out. That's what Ohio State did. I feel like, is Ohio State a little bit better than we're giving them credit for? I don't know. I'm really asking. And I'm wondering, the reputation of the Pac-12 is so bad, right, for some legitimate reasons. I wonder, are we punishing Ohio State? By we, I mean all the polls, the AP, the coaches poll, my own ranking that I do, the way we view Ohio State or talk about Ohio State now. Oregon's ranked in the top 4 in both the polls. I have them 3rd in my ranking. What if Ohio State had lost at home, in a close game to Oklahoma? Would we have Ohio State now all the way back at 9, 10, 11, or 12, depending on which poll you look at? In other words, I feel like because their loss was to Oregon, that maybe we might be unfairly critical of the loss. Maybe Oregon's a really, really good team. They beat Fresno State by 7, but Fresno State's a good team. They beat UCLA last week. Fresno State's only losses to Oregon. Fresno State's a pretty good team, and Oregon's played well since the Ohio State game. And like I said, Oregon's in everyone's top 4. So isn't it possible that Ohio State, with a first-year starting quarterback, just lost a tough, hard-fought, close game at home to a really, really, really good team, and that Ohio State is still pretty good too? I mean, look in the top 10. Like, let me ask you this. If Ohio State was playing Iowa this coming weekend, and Iowa's ranked ahead of Ohio State in every poll, who would you pick to win, Ohio State or Iowa? What if Ohio State was playing Penn State? We're going to get to see that game soon. Who would you pick to win if they were playing right now? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to, Clemson and Ohio State are 2 teams that started in the top 4 or 5 of all the polls that have fallen the most. Clemson for good reason. They're now 2-2, and you can make an argument they don't even deserve to be ranked at all. Clemson. Ohio State, though, like I said, is hovering around the 10 spot in almost any poll or ranking you look at. Some have them 11 or 12. Some have them 9 or 10. I'm wondering if we're being a little bit too hard on Ohio State. I didn't really make this video intending to go down this road. I just wanted to talk about the Kayvon Pope thing, but I guess in talking about Ohio State, it made me just kind of wonder and question, am I being unfairly critical of Ohio State? I think the criticisms that I have about Ohio State's play on the field are legitimate. I do feel like defensively they're missing a few key things that they've had in the past. A dominant pass rusher, lockdown corners in the secondary. They've got good ones. I don't know if they've got any great ones, and they've had a lot of great ones in the last few years. The quarterback situation up in the air. They don't have any quarterbacks on their team coming into this year that had ever completed a pass in college. They went with C.J. Stroud. He's hurt. Now you go to the backup. He played okay. We'll see. But so I feel like there are some legitimate doubts and criticisms about Ohio State in terms of some of the weaknesses they might have on the field. But I wonder if Ohio State is sort of being punished not because they lost particularly to Oregon, but because they lost at home to a Pac-12 team, and the perception that everyone has of the Pac-12 is just not very good. And they're like, oh my God, how do you lose at home to a Pac-12 team? Maybe Oregon's really, really good. Maybe we'll find, these questions will answer themselves as we continue to get more and more football games. And, if Oregon keeps winning every week, we'll see. Ohio State, of course, is going to have more chances to prove themselves against some pretty good teams. They got Penn State coming up. They play Michigan. They've got some tough games. So I think Ohio State does have a chance to climb way back up in the polls, because you start winning those games, especially they win the Penn State game, and Ohio State's sitting there at 6-1, 7-1, whatever they would be at that point. Ohio State's going to be back up near the top 5. I think. Anyway, just ranting and raving. Have a good morning.